Yo, what is up, everybody? Don't adjust your screens. You're seeing things right. It's me, the one and only, the host with the most, Arkham Prince, with my co-host, Metacore Mike. What's up, Mike?
What's up?
Yeah, buddy. So, I got a great show for you guys tonight. We are gonna be talking about one of my favorite stories by one of the greatest authors of our time, Stephen King. That is both novel and film of Riding the Bullet. And before we get started, I just want to say, in this season of Movie Madness, you'll see the one main subject that all these stories revolve around: life and death, in any single way, shape, or form, whether it's movies or TV shows. So, without further ado, let's get started. In this show, I never read the novel. I always seen the films, and I enjoyed the film. And at one point, I started watching a bunch of videos on it, and a lot of people, and I agree with a lot of what these YouTubers are saying. This is more one of those stories that are just made for a novel, short story. That's it, anthology story most likely, or maybe a separate story by itself. But let's get with the plot.
I've
Ever since it,
I've
oh,
done.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry for cutting you off. I've done that with a lot of like films and stuff, like films that were based off novels and stuff. I never read the novel. Never.
Yeah, I've honestly, so before I truly understood who Stephen King was, because I became a fan of him when I was really young, like 5 or 6 years old,
Yeah.
and I always thought that he was a director. I never knew he was an author, not until later in life. So I
You
always thought he directed films. Come to find out, there was only one film that he produced. Directed. It was Maximum Overdrive. And honestly, I enjoyed that crazy shit. That was a hell of a ride. Anybody here that's watching this, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, stuff like that was all over the place. And it was wild and it was awesome and it was fun for what it was. Something cheesy, something to shut this brain off and just relax and enjoy the film. Whether it was goofy, whether it made sense or not. Some films are just meant to be watched brainless.
the
And
only
honestly, Maximum Overdrive felt like that film for me.
the only the only one I would have to say that I watched the movies and read the novel was Jurassic Park, and that's how I knew way back in like the early '90s when the novel came out. That's how I knew we were gonna get more movies because of all the parks, like all the islands. You know what I mean? Like in the novel, you notice like they talk about every island. The funny thing is we got the completion of the movies last year and they skipped out on one island.
See, I always watched the films. I never knew about the novels. That's another film that I never knew had novels to it until until I got older. Maybe 13, 14 years old is when I realized it was a novel before a film. But I'm more of a visual person, and I love seeing the creativity in every little scene, no matter what film it is. That is what people want to focus on for the most part. Not just the story, not just the actors, not just the characters. You want to focus on the little details. And when you watch a film like Jurassic Park, you see how fantastic it really is. And you see all the time and effort that they put into making these films. And then when you do your research, you realize like, oh, Jurassic Park, let's just say Jurassic Park was made for 5 million. Obviously a lot more than that. But let's just say it's $5 million. They come back with the box office $250 million.
Yeah.
Or let's say they have a $250 million budget, they come back with $1 billion. Why? Because the detail and the work, the story, there was little bits and pieces of everything that was really great. Then you mashed it together and created a masterpiece on film. And this is why I've always taken film so serious because you you see the tender loving care that people have for these films.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, we're getting sidetracked, but this conversation is really great, and I just want to say this before we get going on the story.
Do it.
But with film, mainly horror, you see more creativity because you can do so much, and it's like, all right, you can't do that in this film because it doesn't make sense in this genre of film, but you can put it in in the horror genre, and it works perfectly. But you still got to find the right place for that scene. You don't want to have it too early. You don't want to have it in a scene where it's like, oh man, my grandfather just passed away, and
Yeah.
then you see that funny scene. Like, you don't want to do that. I mean, with horror, you can because it makes sense and it's funny, and a dark humor type style. But you always gotta play around. It's a jigsaw piece.
Well, like I said, they missed out on one park or one island, and set aside just missing out on one of the islands, they also missed out. I believe is on like there was like 10 species that they didn't cover as well in the film. And
Yeah,
I understand like back then, like even in the early 2000s when we got Lost World and when we got Jurassic Park 3, it was like, okay, I can understand like what they were working with. They couldn't create all of them, but you got into where it was Jurassic World and you were using AI and all that stuff. Like you could have created these, created those missing, species. So I don't know. I will say this. I don't think they're done. I don't think Dominion was the last film, even though they say it is. I do not think
yeah,
Dominion
no,
was the last film. I think I will say this right now. I think in the next like 3 or 4 years, we're gonna get a new Jurassic Park with not the same story as we got from the first film in '93. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be a recreation. I think we're gonna get a brand new story, like, and I think we'll get some of the same cast, like some of the cast members that are in these films that, like for example, Dominion, we got the cast members from the originals, from one Lost World and three. Okay, they'll be in there. I
see
still think
those films. I didn't watch that one yet.
I still think we'll get um the two main characters that we had in Lost World or in Jurassic World, but we're gonna get a whole new set of characters. I think so. And like Scouts just said in the chat, you got some people in the chat here. We got we got Jax, Al's here tonight, Scouts here tonight. Scouts just said that
What's
we're gonna
up, everybody?
get more films. And exactly, I agree with this. I think we're gonna get more films. I do not think Dominion was it, but I think the next one is going to be strictly called Jurassic Park. Like I think they're gonna go back to just the Jurassic Park name because
You
they
think
need.
we'll get what, like a prequel or whatever?
No, it's not going to even be a recreation of the first film. Like it's not going to be a recreation. They're going to continue the story, but I think they're going to go back to just calling it Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
Uh,
mean?
the last one I seen, I forget what the last one I seen, but that one I haven't seen yet.
And just like Scal says, only if they can film all three of them, excuse me, all three of them together that will get those last three films. That's almost like the Fast and the Furious, like Fast 10, we're getting a part 2 from that. So, and I believe they filmed both parts already. Like they did it all in one time. We're just not going to get part 2 until what, next year. So, but I think Jurassic Park, because we're missing that one island, and I'm excited to see them introduce us to that final island.
So there's this YouTuber that I follow. He covers up all upcoming films. 3C Films is his name. If you guys ever get curious, watch his videos. He does upcoming films, TV shows. He talks about the Chucky series. He's big on horror, and he's awesome. 3C Films is his name. He's definitely worth checking out. If you haven't followed him on YouTube, before you follow him, follow everybody. Follow me and Mike. Follow Off the Top Media. Follow Rivet City Radio, and then go follow 3C Films.
And don't
But
forget to turn on your notifications.
exactly, thank you. So the way this story starts is his uh ever since his father passed away, art student Alan Parker, played by Jonathan Jackson, has been hypnotized by thoughts of death. After his girlfriend Jessica, played by Erica Christensen, breaks up with him, he attempts suicide but is rescued by his friends. The next day, he learns that his mother, Barbara Hershey, that's the actress that plays his mother, had just had a serious stroke, and he sets out to hitchhike to the hospital. Along the way, he meets a series of strange people, including the sinister George Staub, played by one of my favorite actors, David Arquette, one of the greatest world heavyweight champions for anyone out there that's a wrestling fan, who may be
What?
Satan.
What? Did you just say one of the best world champions of all? You know what?
What? I said what I said.
This isn't wrestling. This isn't wrestling. No, no. I'm so
The
holding my
story.
tongue right now. I am so holding my tongue right now.
I know that's why I said that.
Oh,
I have to say that. I have to say that. He's better than Ric Flair.
now
I
I'm getting blamed for this. Why am I getting blamed for this? Or is there a different?
could have.
Hold on. There's two mics, so it can't be me. The other mic. Okay. I was gonna say. I was gonna say. Oh, I'm so holding my tongue right now.
This story. So now we're gonna talk about the novel real quick. The story was published in 2000. The this marked his debut for the internet. For the internet, Simon and Schuster with Technology by Software. First published right in the bullet in 2000 as the world's first mass market ebook, available for download at $2.50 that year. The novella was nominated for the Bram Stoker Award for Superior Achievement in Long Fiction and International Horror Guide Award for Best Long Form. In 2002, the novella was included in King's collection, Everything's Eventful, which you could download that book on Audible right now. This isn't sponsored by them, but still, just in case. And the first now this way is I find this interesting because I never knew this. But in the first 24 hours of the book being published, over 400,000 copies were downloaded. With this, the servers for Softlock started jamming, which caused most fans having to wait hours just to download the book. Over 500,000 downloads. King paved the way for a new form of publishing. The actual number of readers was unclear because of the encryption caused countless computers to crash. And dude, at that time, all this stuff, the internet, everything just started blowing up even bigger and better. And as we went on through the internet world over the past 20 years, it's even more advanced. But at that time, that was some big news.
Yeah.
Over 500,000 copies downloaded, and it caused the servers to crash. That tells you something right there, how serious this story really was.
It
And
rem- it
what
reminds me
what
of
for,
it reminds me of the Social Network, the movie.
yes, Jesse Eisenberg was really great in that film.
No, no. In the one scene, they create that website Face Smash, and they shut down Harvard's thing because they had 22,000 people on it at the same time. and they crash
See,
their network.
see, that's when you know that's something that you want to keep your eye on. You want to follow because it's like if they did that song and crash the server, how
Mhm.
serious are these people? I mean,
Yeah,
come on, that's some serious shit. And these are some serious numbers, though 500,000 downloads and it's interesting. The total financial growth of the electronic publication remains uncertain. Initially offered at $2.50 by Softlock and then Simon and Schuster. It was later available free for download from Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I haven't read the story to this yet, but I've seen the film multiple times. The film has had a bad reception. Lonely Roads Books announced in 2009 the impending release of the deluxe special edition, doubled by King and Garris. And Garris is the one that directed the film. We'll get to that soon. An oversized slipcase hardcover bound, and a flip book of tell I can't pronounce this word. Jesus, it's some format. I'm sorry, I wrote. I should have figured that out. Like an ace double, featuring the novella "Riding the Bullet," the original script for the 2004 film by Mick Garris, and artwork by Alan M. Clark and of Alan M. Clark and of 500 copies. Oh wait, hold on. Bernie, what? Jesus, oh my God. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Clark and Bernie Whiteson. The book was available in three editions: limited edition of 500 copies, signed by Mick Garris and the artist; lettered edition of 52 copies, signed by Stephen King; collector's gift edition, limited to 3,000 slipcase copies, not signed. Now that's just for the story, and let me tell you, we're gonna get to the film soon, but Mike, I want to ask you: have you seen the film at all, or read the book?
Riding the Bullet. No,
Yep.
I haven't seen the film or read the book. No.
Well, if you guys are curious about this by the end, I believe you could find it on YouTube right now. You can still buy the copy. Just look it up. Um, look the film up on Google, and you'll find so many searches for it. But I enjoyed the film. It was mainly I liked a little bit of the creepy vibe to it. And with this story, what's interesting is that there's one thing I got from this story, and to me it's very clear. It's about life and death. You know, you see that throughout the whole film. I've never read the story yet, but the film itself, the idea I get from this is that it's about life and death. If the the title, "Riding the Bullet," think of this, "Riding the Bullet." So the bullet is death, and the bullet in the film is actually a roller coaster, but the roller coaster is the metaphor for death. When you're waiting in line to get on the ride, you're actually waiting in line to die, metaphorically. So it's pretty much saying enjoy your life. To me, enjoy your life while you still have it. Go out and experience life. Don't let life pass you by. It's so precious. No matter what you're doing, death will come for you. Whether it's later today, tomorrow, next month, next year, 10 years, death is gonna come for you. Live your life. Don't let this world hold you down. Don't let nobody tell you can't do anything. Just fucking go and do what you want. Just don't hurt nobody in the process. That's it. But life is precious. Mike, you got something to add?
Yeah, people are saying that I hate good movies. Here's the thing: is I don't hate good movies. It's just that there's movies that I haven't seen yet that I want to see that are on my list of movies to see. So who's to say this movie isn't on my list?
If you, so I'll tell you this. I've always, one thing I believe is that there's not always there's, so this is kind of hard for me to say. So there is bad movies, but all movies deserve to be watched. But not every movie deserves to be paid for. You know, check it out, give it a try. It might not be right for you today, but tomorrow, that movie might just help you through life and get you on the right track and get you to understand. You know, that's the importance about these films is a lot of these films you see these characters develop going from being weak and bullied to finally sticking up for themselves. One of my favorite more recent movies, The Black Phone. Look at that movie. That right there, forget what it really is about. Forget what they tell you what it's about. It's about sticking up for yourself and fighting back and not being the victim anymore, but also not being the bad guy at the same time. You got to learn to draw the line. That's what these films represent. A lot of these films represent that idea. A lot of these films represent the idea of life and death or what death is like. And for some people, get curious for it. I'm very curious on what death is like. I've always been in that mindset. And it's nothing bad. I'm curious about these things. Like what happens like after life? What happens when you die? And this story right here, Riding the Bullet, means a lot to me because in a sense the character represents me and my curiosity. So that's why I hold this film up. The story. I hold the story up to high regards because it truly means a lot to me. Because I've been this guy my whole friggin' life. I've always been curious about what death is like.
And I think you'll always
And
get a.
it's not.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm finished.
With that question though, it all depends on what you pretty much believe in. So, for example, like if you believe in reincarnation, what do you believe you're going to come back as when you pass? It's all about like the behind of belief too. Like for example, I believe in reincarnation.
I believe 100% in reincarnation.
So I have three things that I would like to come back as, but I know at the end of the day I may not have that choice. I want to come back. I want to come back either as an orca whale. People are going to laugh at me for my list, but that's okay. Laugh at me all you want. An orca whale, a turtle, or a dog. And the reason why I think I'm going to come back as one of those three is because if you do research on all three species of animal, they all have loyalty aspects. And people always tell me that I'm a very loyal person. So,
I wanna I wanna be reincarnated as s- someone that teaches people. You know, I want to be a teacher. That's what I would like to be reincarnated as.
but
I like that idea.
the thing is though is when you get into reincarnation, it's all about what you come back as. So you're saying you're going to be reincarnated into another human being.
Yeah.
But if you think of it, we always have those deja vu moments. And I don't want to get too deep into this because this is kind of like a deep subject. You think about
Yeah.
it, like your reincarnation goes into coming back as a human being, so that's almost like your spirit is because you ever have like those visions of stuff that could have happened in your past life.
Hmm.
Like, for example, you have dreams about things, okay? Like, oh, I had a dream that I was back in like the 1700s, and
I got a perfect one for you because I've had this dream constantly. So in one of my dreams, I was an Irish immigrant coming to the States on the Titanic.
So that was your past life.
Exactly.
So you didn't reincarnate into another human being. It's just that in past life, your soul, your spirit was there, and now you came back as you. So now you want your spirit to carry on into new human life.
Yes.
So that's not really reincarnating, it's just that you're starting over. Reincarnating is
Okay.
reincarnating is basically coming back as, like, for example, you can come back as a tree that's grown in the park or some type of animal or like
Okay. All right. See, thanks for clarifying that up because I always thought it was something different. All right. So, all right, if I had to come back as an animal, I'd say a fucking anaconda or piranha. Bite the shit out of people.
yeah, but snakes and piranhas don't necessarily go after human beings. They want no interest in us.
I would. I would.
You'd be the first of the species then.
Of course, most definitely. I gotta be number one. You know I gotta be number one. Come on. I want to bite that motherfucking foot up. Put that foot in that water. I dare you. Put that foot in that fucking water. I dare you. I'll bite it off.
So we got Scowls in the chat saying he wants to come back as a spider so he can bite all the assholes from his life.
Yo, you come back as a spider. I'm staying the fuck away from you.
Yeah, I have arachnophobia. I'm not. Yeah,
I can't do that. I got that phobia because of the arachnophobia movie.
I've been bitten by. I get bitten by a spider. This is no bullshit. I get bitten by a spider at least once a summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, nah, yo, if I see him, oh no, dude, we're getting sidetracked. We
yeah.
apologize, but
We are getting very sidetracked. I'm sorry. I started this conversation. Let's get back on track.
yeah, but I got too into it also. So sorry, everybody. Now we're on to the film. Written, co-produced, and directed by Mick Garris, who has worked with King in the past. The film, which received a limited theatrical release, was not successful in theaters. It earned a domestic gross, this is sad right here, of $134,711 on a $5 million budget. That's crazy. And here's a fun fact. I like this fact. The filmmakers decided to go with a red and white Plymouth as a nod to Stephen King's Christine. However, Christine was a 1958 Plymouth Fury, and George's car was a 1960 Plymouth Fury. While riding in the car with the farmer, Alan's inner self warns Alan about wishes. So when you watch this film, if you guys haven't seen the story, there's great chemistry between Alan and George. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. And honestly, watching David Arquette playing the so-called devil was really great. I think he gave his best performance for this film, and I think it's one of his most underrated performances. During the ride, George talks to Alan about the amusement park ride. He was he was too scared to ride as a kid. The and the ride is actually a real ride. It was in Thrill Village of Laconia, New Hampshire. So before we continue on, I got a list of movies that Mick Garris has worked on of Stephen King's. So we started with 1992's Sleepwalker, 90 Sleepwalkers. That movie's fucking Jesus Christ. The Stand, 1994, which is my number one favorite miniseries. The Shining and Quicksilver, both coming out in 1997. Then this film right here, Riding the Bullet, 2004, and Desperation, 2006, and 2011's Bag of Bones. So out of all these, I didn't watch Bag of Bones, Desperation, Quicksilver Highway. Yeah, those are the only three I didn't watch that he. Holy shit, that's crazy. Stephen King recounts the origins of riding the bullet. This right here, I love this right here. In the introduction for Everything's Eventual, an essay titled Practicing the Almost Lost Art. He notes that it was one of the first things that he had wrote following the roadside accident that nearly took his life in 1999. He describes it as being a key distraction from the spectacular agony that that was experienced during his recovery. Writing took me away from the worst of that pain. And it was and continues to be the first best and continues to be the best painkiller in my limited arsenal. The story I wanted to tell was simplicity itself, little more than a campfire ghost story. Really, it was the hitchhiker who got picked up by a dead man. Now, here's a quote from the movie. The bullet is consistent. The bullet is always there. You wait in line, and that's all. And when it's your turn, you either ride the bullet or maybe you run. And that right there is the perfect metaphor to that's a perfect metaphor for this film and story itself. And based on the ride too. Now, I really couldn't find much information on everything. So this episode was really short because there wasn't really much to tell. But the reason why I chose to talk about this was because the meaning and to talk about what these next future episodes for Movie Madness will bring. And like I said, each episode is going to be based around that, based around life and death, really. That's truly what it's all about. And that's the importance is that whatever you take away from these stories, you got to appreciate your life that you have. You got to appreciate the people around you. You know, you got to appreciate life for what it is. You know, we may not have everything we want, but we sure as hell got everything we need with the people around us. And you got to appreciate it before it's gone. So, Mike, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. Definitely want to appreciate everything around you, everything you got. Always remember that there's always somebody out there that has less than you. So, appreciate everything and anything, whether it's a small object or something big.
So, I watch films like this to help me appreciate what I have because there's times where I get in my where I'm like, all right, I wish I had this. I wish I had that. I wish I had the newest game system out there. And I don't start to appreciate the things that I have. And I always take a lot for granted. Always. I'm just human. I make mistakes just like everybody else. You know, but if we don't start to realize what we have, we could lose it before we realize that we lost it. And that's the most scariest thing. Life is so fucking precious. Enjoy your life. Go have your fun. That's all I can say.
Agreed.
So, anyone got any questions that they like to ask? I can ask as I could 5, 10 questions. Hit me up with a question. Hit Mike with a question. Maybe we could talk about next week's story. Who knows?
Um, so if there's any questions in the chat, if you want to get into next week before we close things down, got about 5 minutes.
So, like I said at the beginning of this episode, we're going to be experiencing life and death and TV shows and movies and in real life. So I'll give you guys the lineup to follow for the next few weeks. We're gonna be talking about one of my favorite underrated TV shows called Dead Like Me. Dead Like Me, I forget the cast, I'm trying to remember, but stars this girl. She ends up dying on her 21st birthday or something like that. And she ends up having to be a Grim Reaper, taking souls and all that. It has 2 seasons. You can watch it right now on Amazon Prime. After that, we're gonna be talking about some good a good film. One of my favorites. It's gonna be the Beetlejuice film with news on the recent sequel being done and coming out next year. So I figured why not continue with Beetlejuice, one of the best films of the 80s. Next, we're gonna be talking about some real life stuff. We're going to be talking about Jane Topin. She's the killer nurse. She's from Massachusetts back in like the 1800s, I believe it was. And let me tell you, this story is phenomenal. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest films ever created by one of the best minds to create a film, Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. I can't wait for this lineup. I think it's a perfect lineup. Mike, let me know what you think. Everybody, let me know what you guys think in the comments of this video. But until then, Mike, let them know where they can find you.
Alrighty. Well, you can find me every Saturday night here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Prince on Prince's Movie Madness. You can catch me every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rivet City Radio's Twitch and Off the Top Media's YouTube channel for Rivet City Red Zone with Johnny H. And then later on that night, right after Botch Botch and Chair Shots, at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you catch me on the Table Spot with Sean and Cam. And then you could catch me, yeah, yeah, right now you can catch me. Those are the places you can catch me right now. If you want to catch me on social media, I updated my social media, made it very easy for everybody. Just look me up at Metal Mike 714, and don't hesitate to hit me up on Snapchat. I get follows everywhere else but Snapchat, so don't be afraid of the Snapchat. I post some stuff up on there too for shows. So, and you get to see sometimes the day in the life. I post random shit sometimes. So, I post stuff on there that I don't post on Facebook or Twitter or X, whatever, Instagram, TikTok. I post stuff on Snapchat. So, and I got some exciting I got some, if you don't mind, Prince, if I can make an announcement real quick. I got some
Go
exciting
ahead.
I got some exciting news that I will be announcing on the table spot for tomorrow night. So, if you want to find out about that news, come join me. Well, come join us on the table spot.
And you can find me on TikTok at Arkham Prince 2023 and on Snapchat, same Arkham Prince 2023. Follow my Facebook page, Arkham Prince. I try and do as much updates on films. I try and post a little bit of funny videos, I guess. But catch me there, hit me up on Snapchat, ask me questions, movie related. Maybe give me some ideas on some movie topics. You know what? Actually, honestly, if you guys want, maybe drop it in the comments or hit me up on Snapchat with fan pick ideas for future episodes, and I'll get into it. But until then, remember everybody, always stay cool, stay weird, and stay yourself. even if you're by yourself. Until then, always remember, yeah, buddy, woohoo!